change people. ठीक है? So when there is such a change, a practical change, people need to change as well. For example, अभी कोरोना वाला आप पूरी सिचुएशन को ले लें. If we did not have to go through all the problems that we faced because of corona, so we would never have realized that this is an issue. Okay? There are people not here in in Pakistan only. You would find them in every country for whom their life has totally shattered after this कोरोना. जैसे इफ यू रिमेम्बर, अभी से कोरोना से पहले हम वर्ल्ड को प्री 9/11 और पोस्ट 9/11 सिचुएशन देखते हैं. यस, ओके. सो नाउ इसके कम भी अर्से बाद देखो 2001 में कोरोना का 9/11 का वाक़या हुआ, एंड इन 2020 या 2019 के एंड में कोविड का ये मसला हुआ. अब आप देखिए सिर्फ 17-18 सालों में देयर इज एन अदर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इवेंट. ठीक है? इवेंट या हैपनिंग या इंसिडेंट कुछ भी कह लें, विच हैज बिफॉलन मैन. ठीक है? Now, man, the 9/11 incident was area specific. Like it was basically, it was basically the Americans who became victims. ठीक है? जिसमें चलो मुस्लिम भी थे और भी थे, लेकिन अमेरिकन आपके victims बने. But जब वो विक्टिम बने तो पूरी दुनिया को पॉलिटिकली मतलब विक्टिमाइज किया गया. बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से, प्यारे तरीके से विक्टिमाइज किया गया. Now, what is the special thing about COVID is that COVID has affected each and every country. ठीक है? And no man, whether he belongs to any religion or sect, he is safe. ठीक है? Now the same situation was prevalent at the time of James Joyce, who वो E.M. Foster का समथिंग कंटेम्प्रेरी ही है, who कंटेम्प्रेरी होता है जो एक वक्त में पैदा हुए हैं, सेम जनरेशन. So, James Joyce के टाइम पे there were other revolutions as well. मतलब both political थी, scientific revolution थी, and women were trying to find themselves. They were trying to find an identity. They wanted to have an identity like men. ठीक है? उन्हें ऐसी आइडेंटिटी चाहिए थी. दे डिड नॉट वांट टू बी ओनली द ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ प्रोवाइडिंग सेक्सुअल प्लेजर और फिजिकल प्लेजर टू मेन. ठीक है? बट through the character of Eveline, we come to know that all women did not have the same chances. They did not have the same opportunities. They had, they had the upper class women. They had chances, whereas there were many women who belong to the middle class or the lower classes. They were still leading a life of separation or subjugation. ठीक है? उन्हें सब्जेक्ट बना लिया गया था. Subjects like slaves, समझो वो उनकी वो लाइफ एंड. So this story, Eveline, is actually a story from James Joyce's book, The Dubliners. The Dubliners. Dublin is a place in Ireland. Ireland, एक country है. Ireland, Ireland. So Eveline, James Joyce, he also belonged to Ireland, Eveline also belongs to Ireland. Most of the characters that James Joyce has introduced in his writing, they belong to Dublin, to that area. Now, why is Dublin important? ये word, ये जगह क्यों important है? Because it was not inhabited by rich people. It was not inhabited by the upper classes, either the lower classes or the lower middle classes. They lived in Dublin. So James Joyce writes about common man, about the common man. He doesn't write about these, high class people, about the elite. His time period is 1882 to 1941. The date of publication or era of publication is 1914. It is exactly the same year when World War I started. Okay, World War I, 1914 ही में start. Plot type is basically linear, but you find a lot of you find a lot of memories as well. आपको flashbacks भी मिलेंगे, and because it is a modern story, this Eveline is a modern story. We find that it has a lot of there is other technique, stream of consciousness used as well. Stream of consciousness, अगर आपको याद हो, क्लेरर की बुक में भी था, it is basically that technique which tells you about the working of the brain, workings of the brain. ठीक है? So you find that both these this plot type, despite being linear, इसका बाकी सारा कुछ linear आपको लगता है, but there are those techniques which became a part of plot, or which became a part of literature during the modern time. Okay? And they are flashbacks and foreshadowing भी है, इसमें उसकी जो hopes हैं, they are actually they are foreshadowing her desires. Okay, she wants to be a free woman. She wants to be a woman who can lead her life according to her wishes. But if you put yourself in Eveline's shoes, उसकी जगह पे रख के देखें, so you would realize that we are all bound, okay? And if these shackles or these boundaries are not set by us, these shackles or boundaries, they are put by the society or the family, okay? So the exposition, coming to the element of plot, the exposition starts from the very start, where we come to know that she is sitting, it's evening time, and she is sitting in the window. And window is a very important symbol. If you remember, in the story of an hour, even in that story, that lady, अभी याद आ जाएगा. So that lady whose husband जिसकी न्यूज पता चली थी कि उसकी डेथ हो गई है, she sat in the window. So the open window is actually symbolic of the open imagination, open mind, where you have ideas. So here, though she is sitting by the window, but she's looking outside. But actually, while looking outside, she's not living in that outside environment, in that external environment. She is actually living she is locked in her thoughts. And we find that her head is even leaning forward against the window curtain, where she can see, she can even smell the road. She was very tired. Okay. That is also exposition. The introduction of the speech where she's looking at that also, which is the second paragraph, that is also the part of the exposition. And here we come to know that they have been living in the street for quite some time. For she has spent almost the whole of her life in this street, and she is so attached to the street that she knows each and every household living, all the families living there. Now, in the third line of this second paragraph, one time there used to be. Now, here starts the flashback. ठीक है, यहाँ से flashback start होता है. One time there used to be a field in which they used to play every morning. She's reminded of her childhood where they used to play in the field, and then that field was bought by a man from Belfast, and he mechanized the whole area. He constructed houses there. But those houses were not like the typical, town houses. जिसका आधे कच्चे आधे पक्के मकान नहीं थे. They were proper brick houses with shining roofs, which means that that area became mechanized or industrialized as well. Then they used to play in the fields, and she's reminded of all the families who were living there. If you see, this is the sixth line, the divines, the waters, the dance, little shows, the triple. She and her brothers and sisters. Ernest, however, never played. He was too grown up. So she's reminded of the fact that her brother Ernest, he never played, whereas all the rest of the children, they spent their time in play. And we are introduced to the father as well, a father who was a very cruel sort of a person, who even in her childhood, in Eveline's childhood, used to carry stick with him. And this stick is like it's like a whip, and this whip is used, or this stick is used to control the children. And so the children were obviously, they were afraid of their father ever since that time. But then she says, she is reminded that her father is not altogether a bad person, and why does his too bad angle come to the forefront? Because at that time her mother was alive, who used to cover up her father. ठीक है, वो हमेशा उसके फादर के हिस्से को कवर कर दिया करती थी. But there is a very interesting line here. That was a long time ago. It was a very long time ago when her mother was alive. It means that when her mother died, the cruelty of her father, it had multiplied. ठीक है, वो ज़्यादा बढ़ गई. She and her brothers and sisters were all grown up. Her mother was dead, and Eveline was dead, and the waters had gone back to England. Everything changes. So here we have the combination. First of all, we started with a past, simple past tense. Then we enter the past of the past, मतलब distant past में चले जाते, and then we are transported back to the present. When she says everything changes. Now she was going to go away like the others, to leave her home. This is her plan. So your exposition ends here, to go away like the others, to leave her home. Now, then as soon as that word home comes into her mind, she is reminded of her conflict. And the conflict is that the conflict is with her own desires. She says home, and then she starts to look around here and there. This is the rising action or the conflict, where she, she's reminded of all the things that she used to clean during her stay here. And here in the same paragraph, you have some foreshadowing as well. ये second line में आप देखें, perhaps she would never see again those familiar objects from which she had never dreamed of being divided. She had never even thought of leaving that house, okay? But now, because she was involved with a person, Frank, नाम से ही पता चल जाता है that he's a very frank, open sort of a person. So it is because of Frank that she begins to think that she can leave her house. So and then she is there are certain things. First of all, she looks at the familiar things. Then she realizes that there are certain things which are still a mystery for her. And what is the first thing? It is the name of the trees who was there in the yellowing picture, photograph. She never knew the name of that tree. And there was another picture as well, that of Blessed Margaret Mary. ये reference है, we are going to do it later, allusions में हम करेंगे. Please stand on Wednesday. He had been a school friend. That man, this priest was actually, his picture was there because he was a friend of her father. And these people, Irish people, they were basically very religious people. ये जेसूस मतलब एक जैसे हमारे different sects होते हैं, इसी तरह का एक फिरका था है जेसूस क्रिश्चियनिटी में. So they were practicing Jesus. And we come to know that that man, that priest, was in Melbourne now. He was in Australia now. What does this constant movement show? Why are the other people leaving? The other people are seeking progress. They are seeking some sort of change in their life, both physical, both material and physical. And then we are told that she wanted to go. She wanted to leave her home. But every time she wanted to leave, there was a question. Was that wise? Now this is a very important question, which every person should think. मुझे इससे एक लतीफ़ा याद आ गया. वो कभी आप लोगों ने सुना होगा पंजाबी में. There was a girl in some Punjabi गाँव. तो उसकी ना वो किसी के साथ इलोप कर जाती है. Elopement is when you run away from your family or मतलब किसी के साथ भाग जाना, ठीक है. वो भाग जाती है. तो उसकी अम्मी बेचारी कहती है, सुबह जब पता चलता है कि वो भागे, तो बड़ी नेक थी वो कुड़ी, बड़ी नेक थी. उन्हें पता थी, वो बार बार रोटियां पकाते हुए कह रही थी कि कल एक रोटी कम होएगी. मतलब जाहिर है उसको पता था, उसने तो भाग जा. तो एक रोटी कम होगी, ऑटोमेटिकली उसकी रोटी नहीं पके, ठीक है. तो बिल्कुल वही बात. तो was that wise? Whenever a person does something not strange, this is not strange. If you are attached to or attracted towards a male person, that is very normal, कोई इसमें. But taking a drastic step, taking a step that is going to cost you your life, that should be avoided. Okay? So, and she, because she was a practicing Christian, she thought whether it was wise to leave her house or not. अच्छा, then she is thinking, वो वे कर रही है, जैसे आपने तराजू देखा होगा, आप कभी इफार बाजार जाए, आपने टमाटर खरीदने हैं, तो वो एक साइड पे वो बैलेंस पे वो रखते हैं, वेट रखते हैं, लेट से 1 किलो का वेट रखा और दूसरी 1 किलो के टमाटर बराबर टमाटर डाले। तो इसी तरह शी इज वेइंग द प्रोज एंड कॉन्स ऑफ लिविंग, ठीक है। अगर उसको प्रोज ज्यादा लगे तो ऑटोमेटिकली मे बी शी वुड हैव लेफ्ट, हालांकि उसके लिए कॉन्स ज्यादा थे, कॉन्स आर नेगेटिव थिंग। So she had shelter and she had food, not because her father was the provider. She was working herself. She was a working woman, and she knew, she had experienced life very closely. She had seen life very closely. And and she was very concerned about her reputation as well. She felt that if she runs away, she elopes with Frank, the people at the stores where she is working, they are going to say she has run away. That was something very immoral. So then, because she has a friend, Miss Gavan, as well, she says that she's thinking about her feelings. Now, then, when she is thinking about the feelings or about the future, they are not only flashbacks, but they are also that the technique of stream of consciousness has been used, where usse apna damag hi sochta jata hai. So she knows that Miss Duran would be really happy if she leaves. Okay? So then she has an imaginary conversation with Miss Hill, Miss Duran as well. Then she says, then again, she is thinking about, on page 81, the first paragraph, she's thinking about her new home. She and Frank, because Frank is a sailor, जो कश्तियों चलाने वाला जो होता है, तो और ट्रैवलर होता है. So Frank is actually going to Buenos Aires. It's a place in Argentina, it's a country. And somehow the word Buenos Aires, it seems something very romantic, something out of this world, something very paradise-like. Okay? So then she starts to think about her new home, and because she has not experienced that place or such freedom before, so she starts to imagine that she would be leading a married life in Buenos Aires. So then she says that she thinks that even if she runs away, that's okay, because the new place where she would be going, the people there are going to respect her. And there is a very important line, and it is the second line on page 81, where she says she would not be treated as her mother had been. She would not be treated cruelly. She would not be. देखो इमेजिनेशन में तो आप ऐसे ही करते हैं, हाँ अगर मैं ये कर लूँ तो मेरे पास ये हो जाएगा. वो जैसे वो खातून नहीं थी जो अंडे बेचती थी, तो उसमें वो जो बिल्डिंग कासल्स इन द एयर वाला जो इडियम है, तो वो अंडे बेचा करती थी. तो एक दिन ना वो कहती है, भाई गाँव में तो कोई ज़्यादा मुझे प्रॉफिट नहीं मिलता, तो मैं अंडे ना जाके बेचती हूँ शहर में. वो खड़ी होती है, इंतज़ार कर रही होती है वैन का या बस का, जिस चीज़ का भी इंतज़ार कर रही होती है. तो अभी वो बस आई नहीं होती, तो अंडे होते हैं बाल्टी में. अब वो क्या करती है कि कहती है, हाँ मैं अंडे बेचूंगी, उसके बाद ना मैं ऐसा करूंगी, एक गाय खरीदूंगी, फिर गाय जो है वो दूध दिया करेगी, फिर मैं वो दूध बेचा करूंगी, फिर मेरे पास ढेर सारी फिर और पैसे आ जाएंगे, फिर मैं ज़मीन खरीदूंगी. जब मैं ज़मीन खरीदूंगी, उस पर इतना सारा वो फसल उगेगी, क्रॉप्स उगेंगी. उसके बाद ये जब क्रॉप्स उग जाएंगी, जब वो कटेंगी, तो मैं एक बड़ा सा महल बनाऊंगी और मैं उसमें रहना शुरू करूँगी. तो वो जो माजा है ना, जो उसका सूटर था या जो उससे शादी करना चाहता था, तो वो जो माजा है ना वो फिर मेरे पास आएगा और वो मेरे पैर पड़ेगा कि मैं तुमसे शादी करना चाहता हूँ। तो मैं ना यूं टांग मार के कहती है, मैं इस तरह उसको ना रिजेक्ट कर दूंगी मैं उसको, और वो बेचारी टांग मारती है ना तो वो सारे अंडे ही गिर के टूट जाते हैं। So that is also stream of consciousness. That is also stream of consciousness कि बेचारी अभी इमेजिन नहीं कर रही होती, तो ये भी बेचारी ऐसे इमेजिन करिए कि मैं मैरिड होके तो मैं ऐसे मेरी रिस्पेक्ट होगी। एंड देन भी जी 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 अच्छा then we come to know about her age as well. She has crossed the age of 19, but she was still afraid of her father because her father could become wild or cruel at any time. So, whenever she thought about the cruelty of her father, she became very apprehensive. You know, she had self-pity. Self-pity होती है जब आपकी heart beat stable नहीं होती. So then, you know, the same thing continues. Her mother is, you know, she realizes that now if her father is going to be cruel to her, she would not have any savior. कोई उसे बचाने वाला नहीं होगा. ना उसकी माँ है, because she is dead, and then her brother Ernest, she is also sorry, he is also dead. And then there was Harry, her other brother, who had gone somewhere for this church decorating business. So he had started a new business somewhere in the country, somewhere in the village. Okay. Now, why had the son run away? We need to keep this thing in mind, that the son had run away because of his father's cruelty. But it is only Eveline who is constantly supporting her father. It is only she who has been constantly living with her father despite all the cruelty that she is facing. Then we come to know that, you know, sometimes, you know, she used to meet Harry. And why did they meet both siblings? They met because they had a common enemy. उनका अब्बा जो common enemy था, इसलिए ये लोग छुप के ये मिला भी करते थे. And because Harry was living at a distant place, he never wanted his father to take away his wages. ठीक है, अगर फादर वेजेस अगर ये घर आता तो फादर वेजेस ले लेते थे. ठीक है, सो इन ऑर्डर टू अवॉइड दैट, तो एवलीन से भी कम ही उनकी इंटरेक्शन होती थी. सो एंड शी even Eveline used to give her own wages to her brother. ठीक है, ताकि वही कुछ ना कुछ संभाल ले, वरना उसको पता था कि उसके पैसे जाया हो जाएंगे. बट शी नेवर यूज्ड टू से दैट पैसे, वो ये कहती थी पैसे जाया हो जाएंगे. शी नेवर यूज्ड टू express that her money, her hard earned money was forcibly taken by her father. कभी भी उसने ये बात नहीं की. अच्छा, then we come to know that you know, we are introduced to Frank. Frank, who is a sailor, and she had just, again there's the conflict in modern stories is very long. आपको बहुत और फिर क्लाइमेट पे टाइम आता है, and these short stories end. ठीक है, so conflict इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, because these conflict such conflicts show the conflict of which conflicts that are being faced by modern man. ठीक है, तो आप देखिए इसमें कॉन्फ्लिक्ट बहुत बड़ा आपको नजर आ रहा है एज कम्पेयर टू द रेस्ट ऑफ द स्टोरी. अच्छा, so then we are introduced to Frank, who is a kind, manly, open-hearted, generous sort of a man, and they plan that they are going to elope. We are told about that as well. So जैसे Hamlet की एक लाइन आपको पहले भी to be or not to be, that is the question. So ये भी to go or not to go, that is the question. She is a bit confused whether she should go or not. Then we come to know that about their first meeting, and she was attracted to him in the very first meeting, where he used to come outside the stores. मतलब उसके जिधर ये जॉब करती थी उधर आती थी आता था, and they used to meet there. But her father came to know about their relationship, and this pair or this couple had to part. इनको बेचारों को दूरियां सहनी पड़ी, ठीक है. So and not that type of thing. So they istra part means they had to meet each other, stealthily, secretly, छुप के अपने मिलते. And the climax comes when it is almost the end of the page, where he says, father says, I know these sailor chaps. They are not, that these sailors are always on move about, they are always roaming, they can't stick to one place. वो उसके अंदर बुराइयां निकाल रहे. One day he had quarreled with Frank, and after that he had to meet her lover secretly. So this is the climax where we come to know that the father had an encounter with a slight encounter with Frank, her beloved. Then we come to know that it is again dark, it is getting darker, रात आने वाली है, and she has got 2 letters in her lap. Now this is the falling action now. And the 2 letters are actually, one for Harry, that who is her brother, and the other one is for her father. And though she was not very attached with Harry, but still he was, because he was her brother, therefore she was, she had written a letter to him as well. But then she thinks about the letter to her father. At once there's a realization. And what is that realization? Her father was becoming old lady. This is the 4th last line on this page 81, where he says that her father was becoming old lately, she noticed. She would miss her. So she says that देखो बेटियां ही ऐसे सोचती हैं, और फिर औरत के अंदर ही एक वो ममता वाली बात होती है. लड़के ऐसे नहीं सोचते, because he is not happy, because Harry is not satisfied with his life. मैं मैम को कॉल करने लगी हूँ कि बैठ के क्लास में लो, तो फिर आप बाहर क्यों गए? So because Harry is not satisfied with his life, he runs away. Actually, so then at once, because she is a daughter, she says, sometimes he could be very nice. ठीक है, कई दफा तो वो अच्छा था ही ना, ठीक है, ज्यादा टाइम उसके वो क्रूअल ही रहा है, लेकिन कभी ना कभी तो वो अच्छा भी रहा. Not long before, when she had been laid up for a day, he had read her a ghost story and made soap for her at the fire. While she was not well, and she was very tired, that her father, prepared a meal for her, and he also read her a story. Then another day, when their mother was alive, which was quite long ago, they had been on a picnic as well, where she she realizes that he put on the mother's bonnet to make the children laugh. He acted like a clown as well. But then she realized that the time was running out. The time अब थोड़ा रह गया. She had to. She realizes and she realizes that she has to go to France, and then she has to leave that place. Then there's a very important line on page 82, the fourth one, saying that it should come that very night to remind her of the promise to her mother, her promise to keep the home together as long as she could. जी आप प्ले करें, प्ले करें. So at once she realizes that there's a street organ. वो street organ होता है वो जो accordion, एक piano होता है वो बाजा सा बना होता है. So there is a person who is playing an accordion, and she's reminded of the promise she made to her mother, and that was to keep the family together, keep the home together, or keep the family together as as much as she can. बस ये जो अम्मा का वादा था ना, वहीं पे वो उसको याद आ गया, and it seems as she has made some decision. But at that very time, she's not only reminded of her promise, she's also she's also reminded of the death scene of her mother. ठीक है, और जब अम्मा का death scene याद आता है, she is also reminded of the sacrifices her mother has been constantly making. ठीक है, and then she's reminded of the whole tragedy of her mother's death. ठीक है, and then Mama is in her car. Then she realizes that the last words of her mother were, it's the second paragraph on page 82, Derevon Seron, and which brought, at once she became fearful, एकदम डर खौफ था उसके अंदर. And she wanted to escape that terror. She wanted to run away from this fear, okay? And the only way she could escape was through France, okay? Through her beloved. सिर्फ वो ही इसको बचा सकता था. And these are very important lines. The fourth line on page, on the second paragraph, fourth line in the second paragraph of page 82, he would give her life, perhaps love too, but she wanted to live. Why should she be unhappy? She had a right to happiness. Okay? Now these lines are very important because she is here we come to know that she has a desire to live. ठीक है, लव तो है ही है, लव तो, लेकिन लव जो है वो एक्सपायर हो जाता है लाइक मेडिसिन, लेकिन जिंदगी तो साथ चलती रहती है.